You don't just vanish off an island. St. Joseph Island has one bridge on and one bridge off. In December, the roads are black and empty, and the whole place knows itself. A 14-year-old boy cannot simply evaporate off a place like that. Someone sees something. Someone always sees something. So where is Justin Pollari? This is Ontario Cold Cases, Canada's True Crime Podcast. I'm Jay Nickel. I'm a licensed private investigator with Nickel Investigations. And this is not a case I'm reading about. It's one I'm working. Justin's mother, Lori, hired me this year to find out what happened to her son. And after 4 months and more than 60 witnesses, I can tell you, the story the record has told for almost 25 years, that Justin ran away, does not survive contact with the evidence. Let me tell you about Justin. Then the night of Friday, December 7th, 2001. Then I'm going to ask you for 2 specific things. And I'm going to tell you honestly why I need to physically be on that island to finish this. So who was Justin? Justin Jonathan Robert Pollari was born on the 31st of January 1987. His friends called him Woody. In December of 2001, he was 14, living near Hilton Beach on St. Joseph Island, out in the Algoma district of Northern Ontario, east of Sault Ste. Marie, connected to the mainland by a single bridge. In winter, it's quiet in a way city people don't quite grasp. On a December night, the traffic on those island roads is close to nothing. Justin skateboarded. Not as a fad, he truly loved it. His friends will tell you the board went everywhere he went. He was 14, old enough to be out on a Friday night, young enough that somebody should have been keeping him safe. He'd be 39 years old today. Nobody's seen him since he was 14. The runaway problem. Here's what runaway is supposed to mean. A kid decides to leave. They take things, clothes, money, what matters to them. And they turn up. A sighting, a record, call home years later from somewhere far away. Living people leave trails. Now here's Justin. In nearly 25 years, no confirmed sighting. No records. Nothing with his name on it anywhere in a country that records almost everything. No contact with his mother, his friends, anyone who loved him. He left his belongings. He left his skateboard. He was 14. It was December. It was an island with one way on and one way off. I want to be fair because that's my job. It is not impossible for a person to vanish voluntarily and stay gone. But you weigh it against the evidence. And when I put the runaway theory on the scale against everything we've gathered, it doesn't hold. It's not a hunch. It's 4 months of work. The work. So let me tell you what that work looked like. Since this spring, this investigation is located and spoken with more than 60 witnesses and tipsters. Some were teenagers on that island in 2001 and are middle-aged now. Some had first-hand knowledge of that night. And here's the thing I keep coming back to. The thing that should bother everyone listening. A startling number of these people told me that in 2001, nobody ever asked them anything. First-hand witnesses, never interviewed. From those 60-plus accounts, cross-checked against each other, people who don't know one another, who moved away, who have nothing to gain. We rebuilt Justin's last day, almost hour by hour. It is the most complete picture, December 7th, 2001, that has ever existed for this case. Most of it is now solid. I'll walk you through it. I won't name the people involved because this is live and because I protect the people who talk to me. And then I'll show you the 2 places where the picture still goes dark. The last ordinary day. Midday, December 7th. Justin is seen in a local restaurant. Ordinary. A kid out on a Friday. The afternoon, he spends it at a camp on the island with friends. And this matters. When that friend who owns the camp heads off for the evening, Justin is fine, uninjured, laughing himself. The evening. There's an open mic night at a community hall. The most normal thing in the world because on a Friday night, that's where the island's teenagers are. Justin's there. And at some point he steps outside and gets into a play fight with a buddy. Dumb, happy roughhousing. He comes away with a split lip. I want you to sit with that for a second. Because it's almost unbearable. A scraped lip from goofing around with a friend was one of the last ordinary things that ever happened to Justin Pollari. And then at some point, Justin leaves the hall. And then later, Justin comes back to the hall. Hold on to that. It's my second question. Later that night, 2 people drive Justin home. They drop him at his driveway. That is the last independent sighting of Justin Pollari. The driveway. Friday, December 7th, 2001. By the next morning, the story around Justin has already changed. It is now that he ran away. And it takes until roughly 2 days later for anyone to report a 14-year-old boy missing. Now for the 2 questions. Out of that whole day, 2 windows are still dark. And either one, I believe, could be the thread that pulls this entire thing apart. So I'm going to say them slowly. If you're anywhere near St. Joseph Island in December of 2001, actually think. Question 1. The afternoon. When Justin left that camp, who was he with? And what time was it? Somebody knows who he walked out with. Maybe you were there. Maybe you heard about it that week. Maybe you carried it for 25 years thinking it was nothing. Question 2. The return. After Justin left the community hall that evening, how did he get back to it later that night? Think about what that means. A couple of kilometers, December, an island where the night roads are dead. A 14-year-old doesn't just reappear across that distance. Someone drove him, or saw him, or knows how he made that trip. Who did he leave the camp with? How did he get back to the hall? That's it. Now, why I have to be there? Now, let me be straight with you about why I'm asking for help to get onto that island in person. I can build a file from anywhere, but this case doesn't get solved from a desk 7 hours south. The people who know what happened to Justin are on St. Joseph Island, and some of them, for reasons I completely understand, will never call a tip line and will never, ever sit across the table from police. But they'll talk to me, not on the phone, not by email, in person, in the kitchen, a driveway, a parking lot, once they've decided they can trust the guy asking. And there are people on that island holding pieces of this who have never seen a single one of these posts because they're not on social media at all. The only way to reach them is to show up, knock on the door, be seen in the community, stand on the ground where this happened and let people come to me. That's what Laurie's Fund is for, not overhead. Boots on the ground. The drive north, the days on the island, the doors, the conversations that only happen face to face. Every dollar is a mile closer to the person who finally says a thing they've held for 25 years. Where this is going. Here's where it honestly stands. After 4 months, my professional assessment is that Justin's disappearance is not a runaway, and should be re-examined as a suspicious one. A formal submission to the Ontario Provincial Police is in preparation. A complete, organized file, built to be taken seriously and hard to set aside. I won't promise you an ending. I don't traffic in promises I can't keep. What I can tell you is that the case is closer to being properly examined than it's been in 25 years. And getting me on that island is part of what carries it the rest of the way. So if you know something, anything, however small, however old, please reach out. Email me at jnickel@protonmail.com. Call or text 289-923-7302. Stay anonymous if you need to. If you want to help me get on the ground and finish this, the family's GoFundMe is linked wherever you're hearing this. And I'll say it plainly. That money is the difference between working this case from 7 hours away and working it face to face with the people who actually know. And if all you can do is share Justin's story, do it. Send it to one person from the island. Because on St. Joseph Island, the person who knows what happened to Justin Pollari is probably one share away from hearing his name again. He was 14. His friends called him Woody. He left his skateboard behind. Let's bring him home. I'm Jay Nickel of Nickel Investigations. This has been Ontario Cold Cases, Canada's true crime podcast.